Hello, this is Thomas, K4SWL. If you're new here, I like to do real-time, real-life amateur radio field activation videos. And if you didn't know any better, you'd think it was like pretty amazing weather looking out here right now. But let me tell you, it has been changing off and on all day long. In fact, it's been very gusty, windy, cold, and rainy. And you can see it's still kind of raining here, but we've just got a little patch of sunshine coming over right now. And I'm at the Zebulon Vance Historic Birthplace. Haven't been here in months, so it's kind of fun to be here. I am in a hurry though. I don't have a whole lot of time to do this activation today. I'm fitting it in. I've got, it's like what, 3:30 almost, and I've actually got errands to run before the end of business for a couple of retailers, 5:30, something like that. So I need to get the ball rolling here with the activation. But before I begin, I wanted to thank you for coming along for this ride. These are real-time, real-life videos, so I don't really edit them. I do try to put chapters in the video, so if you hover your mouse, your pointer over the timeline in YouTube, it should show the chapter so you can skip to the parts that you don't want to watch. Otherwise, you can watch the whole thing, and I promise you, it'll be the very best cure for insomnia you've ever experienced, guaranteed. But thank you for being a kind person, being on this planet, and also thank you for all the people who support me on Patreon and Coffee Fund. You are really amazing. Now, this is bug out month still, with my bug out month, which is October 2025. It's the month I set aside to try to take a bug to the field and either my real bug, like my Vibraplex here, or a bug emulator so that I can work on my bug fist. That was the whole idea of doing this, is I knew that if I went to the field and I hopped on the air that I would work on it. And I'm really glad I've done that. Now, even though I'm pressed for time, there's one thing I want to mention, because this may be my last bug out month activation. Now, I'll probably still do some with bugs from time to time, but we're close to the end of the month. There's only 2 days left after this. Both of those days are just slammed busy for me with things I'm doing. So I may not get another opportunity to come out here, and it's the reason I made time to come out here today, actually. But I wanted to address just a couple of things that people have brought up with me since I've been doing Bug Out Month. So first of all, one of them is, I haven't been the only one doing this. A lot of other people have kind of been inspired to either learn to use the bug or use this self-imposed bug out month as a reason to take their bugs to the field and maybe do activations and that sort of thing. And that really makes me happy. Never planned on it being a movement or anything like that, but quite a lot of other people have been doing this, and I think that's kind of cool. I have gotten there are a lot of newcomers to the hobby that are just curious what this is and why I'm learning it, and I've been able to talk to people about that in the comment section on QRP or here on YouTube, in emails. I've also had a lot of people who are very experienced bug operators, some of them who had been bug operators like in the Navy and that sort of thing, and they've given me some really good advice, kind advice, constructive advice of how to operate, and that's been welcome as well. There are a lot of bug experts out there. I am not one of them. I'm still very much a newbie at this. I've also had some people that have been a little bit more critical, but in a very kind way and a very understanding way. I'm very appreciative of their comments, actually, where they've kind of said, hey, Thomas, this may not be making it easy for newcomers that are trying to work you on POTA or that are just out there. They may not recognize a bug fist, especially since you're learning to use the bug and not sending really good code quite yet. And that's true. And I actually have given that a lot of thought even before I decided to do this bug out month thing. What I'll try to set up while I'm doing this, by the way, I'm going to be doing my Elecraft KX2 AX1 combination just to save time today. So I've given it a lot of thought, and the truth is, these people it's been more than one person, they're correct. But I want you to know that my goal with operating a bug is not to have like a unique bug fist. My goal is to send really nice 3x1 standard code. I don't want people at the end of the day to be able to recognize that I have a bug fist. And that's one of the reasons and one of the motivations for getting out and doing this, because frankly, I don't operate a whole lot in the shack unless it's hunting people. On occasion, I'll do a rag chew, but haven't done it in a long time. And I need to do more of that. But my goal is to send really consistent, very understandable and intelligible code. It is not to sound like I'm using a bug. So over the course of this month, I've already released a couple of the videos. I can hear a difference in my fists. Like I'm becoming a little more comfortable, a little more confident with it. I'm not a great operator yet by any stretch of the imagination, but I definitely have heard improvement over the month, and I'm very chuffed about that. I'm happy about that. I've got a long way to go, but I feel like it's accomplished what I set out to do, which was just improve my bug fist, which was non-existent when I started this, right? But I'm almost a little shivery. It's kind of chilly out here today. So that's my overarching goal. And there's another thing too. Is when I first started doing activations myself in the early days of PODA, there were quite a lot of bug operators out there. There really were. I'm not sure why, but in the early days of PODA, there were just way fewer CW operators to begin with that I was working, and quite a lot of them had bugs and had some pretty strong bug fists, and as a newcomer, and it was all still very new to me, Morse code, it was a challenge sometimes to copy them. But I think it made me a better operator because I became much more forgiving about how code sounds, because some people, they use hand keys, or they even use electronic keyers, and they still don't send, wonderful, beautiful code. Their fist just isn't that good. And for some people, it's like almost a physical thing. They just have a hard time coordinating it. But I got to where I could understand them, and I became more flexible with it. So I don't think it's all that bad when a newcomer hears inconsistent code, from a hand key or a bug or something like that. That said, I think the goal, like I said, is always to try to send your best when you're sending it. But I think it's not a terribly, bad thing. Everybody starts somewhere, and I felt very safe, thankfully, and it was very true. I knew that the CW community that I work here would come around and be forgiving of my bug fist, right? As I was learning this. And I feel like they really did. I really do feel like that was the case. I got a lot of support. But I know that it's possible to send really good code, because if you've been following these videos, you've no doubt heard, like I have, people who are on the air and who've sent, done a full exchange with me. And by golly, I had no idea. I'll have to walk back to the car and grab a cable for my key here. I moved it from this backpack over to this other pack in my car, but I'll continue talking. People who have done full exchanges with me, and it sounded beautiful, like normal code, like they were using an electronic keyer. But at the very end, when they would sign off, they would give a tell about using a bug. You would hear them just like send a little something, and it was like, oh, they put a little swing into it, just so you had an idea that they were using a bug. And so I know it's possible to get to a point where you can sound like you're not using a bug. And that's really my goal. It's just to send this nice, clear and consistent stuff. Now, when it comes to a rag chew, that's a different thing. If you've got a friend that you're hopping on the air and you want to put a lot of swing in it and just kind of, for lack of better words, code switch, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If your friend understands you and it's just kind of fun, go for it. But at the same time, too, I think PODA, SODA, and these places, these are pretty safe places to learn how to use a bug. And the reason I say that is the exchanges are very formulaic. So it's not like you're hopping out there and let me think, it's US I think it's 6856. Let me look. It's not like you're hopping out there and they are typically new people are using the POTA spots page to find your call sign to begin with. So they know when they tune in, they're just listening for your call sign. So if it's not perfect, they probably still get it. Zebulon Vance, KX2, AX1, and the Vibroplex. And today is the 29th, is that it? 29th of October, 2025. We'll try to start on the 20 meter band. If all goes well, and what time is it? It's about 1900 hours. Okay, so that's what I have to say about that. Now, I need to set this up. I've never used a bug with this. I need to set it up. Or maybe I used the bug emulator with it. I did. Awesome. Excellent. I already have it set up for a hand key. I am hearing some QRM I've never heard here before. You hear that grindy sound? That is not typical here. So I'm trying. I have a hard time with my 4 for it not to sound like a swing. I'm still working on it. Let me see if I can use my noise blanker. That's not really making a difference. Let me put on my... oh, what am I doing? I haven't spotted myself. Let me do that while I'm doing this. It's 14063.5, US 6856. Oh, okay. I think I heard KG. Let me see. Wait a minute. Hang on. How did I? Okay, hang on, hang on. Oh, it's LEL. There's just so much stuff around me, and I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember how I adjust. I'm trying to remember how I adjust the filter position, and I'm getting confused with my. There we go. There we go. I was getting confused with my. There's just so many close-in stations right now. There we go. Why did I do that? I'm trying to listen to KE3C. Or like, maybe that's who I heard. I can't slow down too much because my dits are like at 100 words a minute, it seems like. Not quite, really, right? But I can space it. It's just harder. As a novice on a bug, it's harder. I'll try this. Still there? I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna turn down my power to a watt. Okay, wait. I'll have to get off here soon anyway. There's a little QRM that hasn't been here before. One watt doesn't make much of a difference, does it? I'm operating 1 watt with this little antenna underneath a picnic shelter in a valley. Ah. Couldn't tell if there's a suffix. I was trying to take a picture while I was doing that. And we'll be hopping off here soon. Okay, wait. Okay, well. Man, it's crazy. 1 watt. Oh, nice. Okay, wait. Rain's blowing in on me right now. I heard a park to park I'm gonna try to get. I'm gonna try to go for the park to park. I gotta go soon though. This is with 1/2 of a watt into this little tiny antenna. It's crazy. Good job catching me. Good to get you the logs. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I was trying to take a picture as I was bugging, and that was not working. Oh, nice. That's part of the park to park. Good, 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 good. So my goal worked. It was so crazy. I worked these two people off of 1/2 of a watt, which is just brilliant, right? So when I was really screwing up my keying there, I was trying to, with this hand, just click this button without screwing up my keying. I could not do it. It's just, my brain won't do that. So anyway, man, that was fun. That was so much fun. And I'm glad I fit in this activation. I took longer than I planned. How long have I been on the air? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 contacts in what amounted to 21 minutes? Anyway, let me take a picture of my logs here. Wow, that was a lot of fun. I'm glad I fit this in. I am running late, but I'm still out of here by 4, but I've just got to get all the way across town really quickly. Let me start packing this up as I'm talking here. But anyway, that to me was tremendous fun. I find that my 4s are still hard for me to form without swinging. I'm trying to learn that. There is this sort of I liken it a little bit to driving a manual car, like with a manual transmission or a stick shift, a straight drive as we call it here in the South. You can know how to use a stick shift. You can know how to drive a manual transmission and get really good at it, to where you're driving smooth and your gear shifts are nice and smooth. But you hop into someone else's car, especially if you've been in a car and you hop in a truck. Like I drive a truck all the time with a manual transmission, and it has a really long throw. On the gear shift, it's a 5-speed on the floor. A huge throw. The clutch, you have to push down what feels like 50 feet to get to the bottom of the clutch. When I get into a sportier car that I'm driving with a manual transmission, I'm awkward with it at first, because even though I know how to use it, I know how to make the gears work, I know how to do everything, it's just awkward until that muscle memory or whatever builds up and you understand what's going on there in your brain. And it's the same kind of when you're using a manual key like this, it's semi-automatic. You're working with that pendulum, and you need to leave, like with my 4, the tendency is to hit it, get 4 dits, and then go straight into a dash. But if I can do it and leave just enough space, then I can hit my dash so there's like 4 dits dash space. That's what I'm going for, but it's kind of hard to do, and the tendency is to swing it. And to be honest, with a number like that, you can get away with it. But I don't want to be swinging everything, when I'm sending with my bug. So it's something I got to work on. But I'm happy to do that. And this was a lot of fun. Now, I think this will probably be my last bug out month, bug activation, because I can't imagine I can get out tomorrow or the day after. I've got so much going on. So I'm glad I took the time to do this, even though I'm running late. And very pleased with the results of this. Another example of I didn't have a lot of time, and kind of your thought process goes, well, if you don't have a lot of time, put up a good antenna so that you won't be on the air very long, because you won't have to work very hard for contacts. But in reality, that's not the case. I find that using my AX1 antenna allows me to hop on the air, get my activation done really quickly, and hop back off. Like this pack up took no time at all while I was talking to you, and that's awesome, right? So, if you live in Alaska or Hawaii, I'm guessing you can't get away with, using an AX1 like this. But here in the eastern part of North America, you certainly can. I find it's the fastest way to get on and off the air and get my activation done is to use an AX1, because it takes me 2 minutes to put that together if I'm taking my time. And even if I'm taking my time with my Chelegans MC 750, which is really quick to put up, if I'm taking my time with it or I'm trying to speed it up, maybe I'll do it in 3 minutes or 4 minutes. It doesn't sound like a lot, but by the time you do the deployment and the takedown, that's an additional 4 minutes or something of your time. And 4 minutes on here would yield 4 contacts. I was doing a contact a minute. And so it can make a difference if you're in a hurry. I just have a hard time telling people no. So when there was such a big pileup going on, I didn't want to hop off the air. And so I just made myself late. Anyway, I better stop talking. Thank you so much for coming along on this activation. This was tremendous fun for me. It was nice getting out of here to Advanced again and playing radio with my little Vibraplex Kier, which I'm glad I had out. And thank you for following along during Bug Out Month. And I hope if you've been using a bug on the air too, that you've found it really fulfilling like I have. I definitely think I've got a long way to go with my Bug Fist, but I'm very pleased with it. It's better than I thought it would sound by the end of the month. Not that I'm like I said, not that good yet, but I'm much better than I was at the beginning of the month. If I go back and look at my first activation, granted, it was not on a level surface, so my bug wasn't quite acting right, but I was not nearly as good. I wasn't nearly as good when I first used the bug emulator either in some of those first activations. So it's kind of nice to see that you can progress. And this has been an aspect of the hobby I've really enjoyed doing. And you better believe that next year, everybody's been asking me, I will try a straight key. I don't know that I'll do it for a full month, but I will try to use a straight key in the field a few times. And I think I will try to use a cootie or a side swiper in the field at some point too. I don't mind building up the muscle memory for those things, but if I find they're interfering, I haven't used a regular electronic keyer now, and I've got to go back to that and get used to it again. And I think I can switch back and forth, but I'll find out how that works. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Take care. Thank you for being a kind person on this planet. And thank you, because remember, all we got on this planet is each other, right? So let's take care of one another out there. And thank you to my Patreon and Coffee Fund supporters. And if you get a chance, go out and play a little radio. I promise this stuff's really addictive and also really good for you. And how many other things meet both of those criteria? Take care, everyone. Until next time, 7 twos.